Have you ever wondered what truly keeps you vibrant and alive well past 70? Is it just good genes, a healthy diet, or something deeper, something that lights up your heart and soul? Today, I'm sharing a secret that's not found in any medical book, but in the wisdom of a life well loved. At 92, my dear friend Eleanor taught me that the way you love, connect, and stay intimate in your relationships can be a powerful sign of how long you'll thrive. Stay with me, because I'm going to reveal 9 signs that show how love and intimacy can add years to your life after 70. These aren't just tips, they're truths forged in decades of joy, heartbreak, and rediscovery. They'll change how you see your relationships and maybe even how you see yourself. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, I encourage you to click that subscribe button and ring the notification bell to stay updated on all our latest content. Your support means the world, so if you find value in this video, please give it a thumbs up to help spread this message. I'm eager to hear your thoughts on today's topic. If you enjoy the content, please comment number 1 below. If it doesn't resonate with you, leave a 0. Your feedback is so important, it helps me create videos that truly speak to your heart. Now, let's dive in. Let me take you back to a warm summer evening in 1985, sitting on Eleanor's porch in Savannah, Georgia. The air was thick with the scent of jasmine, and fireflies danced in the dusk. Eleanor, then in her early 50s, was sipping sweet tea, her eyes sparkling as she told me about her husband, James. They'd been married for 30 years, and yet, she said, every time he looks at me, I still feel like the girl he courted at 19. I was young then, barely 30, and I laughed, thinking it was just sweet talk. But now, at 75, I understand what she meant. Eleanor lived to 92, sharp and full of life until her final days. And she swore the secret wasn't just the tea she drank or the walk she took, it was the love she nurtured, the intimacy she cherished, and the emotional bonds that kept her heart young. Eleanor's story isn't just a sweet memory, it's a lesson. Science backs this up. Strong relationships and emotional connection can lower stress, boost immunity, and even add years to your life. But it's not about grand gestures or Hollywood romance. It's about the quiet, everyday moments of love and intimacy that build a life worth living. Today, I'm sharing 9 signs that show how your relationships can predict how long you'll live after 70. These are drawn from Eleanor's wisdom, my own decades of marriage, and the stories of countless women I've known. Let's start with the first sign. Sign 1, you feel safe to be yourself. When you're in a relationship where you can be your true self, flaws, quirks, and all, your heart and body thrive. Eleanor used to say, James never asked me to be anyone but me. That's why I could love him so fully. When you feel safe to share your fears, dreams, or even your silliest thoughts without judgment, your stress melts away. Studies show that emotional safety lowers cortisol levels, which protects your heart and immune system. But when you're constantly hiding who you are, it's like carrying a weight that wears you down. Think about it, have you ever been with someone who made you feel like you had to put on a mask? Maybe you didn't speak up about something that hurt you because you were afraid they'd pull away. That kind of tension builds up, and over time, it can take a toll on your health. Now, contrast that with a moment when your partner listened to you, really listened, and you felt seen. Maybe it was when you admitted you were scared about getting older, and instead of brushing it off, they held your hand and said, I'm scared too, but we'll face it together. That's the kind of safety that keeps you young. Here's a small step to nurture this. Tonight, share something small but real with your partner. Maybe it's a worry about the future or a memory that makes you smile. Don't overthink it, just let them see you. If they respond with kindness, you're building a foundation for a longer, healthier life. Sign 2, you still laugh together. Laughter isn't just the best medicine, it's a sign your relationship is keeping you alive. Eleanor and James had this ritual. Every Sunday, they'd sit down with a cup of coffee and tell each other the funniest thing that happened that week. Even in tough times, they found something to chuckle about. Laughter releases endorphins, reduces stress, and strengthens your bond. Couples who laugh together are more likely to stay connected, and that connection is a lifeline after 70. I remember my husband, Tom, and I going through a rough patch in our 60s. Money was tight, and we were both feeling the weight of it. One night, I burned dinner, completely charred the chicken, and instead of getting mad, Tom looked at me, grinned, and said, "Well, darling, at least we can't afford to waste our appetite on this." We laughed until tears ran down our faces. That moment didn't fix our problems, but it reminded us we were in it together. That's what laughter does, it pulls you back to each other. Try this, next time you're with your partner, share a silly memory or watch a comedy you both love. Let yourselves laugh without holding back. It's not just fun, it's fuel for a longer life. Sign 3, you touch without expectation. Intimacy isn't just about sex, it's about the little touches that say, "I'm here, and I love you." Eleanor told me she and James held hands everywhere, walking to the mailbox, sitting on the couch, even in the car. Those small gestures kept them close, even when life got busy. Touch lowers blood pressure, reduces anxiety, and reminds you you're not alone. After 70, when health challenges can creep in, those moments of connection are like medicine. But here's where many couples stumble: touch becomes transactional. Maybe you only reach for your partner when you want something more, and they start to feel like it's not about love but an agenda. That can create distance, and distance is the enemy of intimacy. I've seen it in my own life. There was a time when Tom and I got so caught up in our routines that we stopped touching just a touch. When we started again, simple things like a hug in the kitchen or a pat on the shoulder, it was like we rediscovered each other. Here's a practical tip. Today, touch your partner in a way that asks for nothing in return. Brush their arm while you're making coffee, or rest your hand on theirs during dinner. Those moments build a warmth that carries you both forward. Sign 4, you listen to understand, not to fix. One of the biggest mistakes we make in relationships is thinking we need to solve every problem. Eleanor used to say, "Sometimes, James didn't need to fix my worries, he just needed to hear them." When your partner feels truly heard, it creates a bond that's stronger than any solution. Listening without jumping to advice or judgment shows you value their heart, and that emotional connection is a key to longevity. I'll never forget a night when I was feeling overwhelmed about our kids moving away. I poured my heart out to Tom, expecting him to tell me it would all be fine. Instead, he just sat there, nodded, and said, "That sounds really hard. I'm here with you." It wasn't a fix, but it was everything I needed. That kind of listening builds trust, and trust is what keeps you both healthy and connected. Try this, next time your partner shares something, resist the urge to offer advice. Just listen and say something like, "I hear you, and I'm here." It's simple, but it's powerful. Sign 5, you keep growing together. A relationship that stays vibrant is one where both of you keep learning and growing, even after decades together. Eleanor and James took up ballroom dancing in their 70s, not because they were great at it, but because it gave them something new to share. That sense of adventure kept their bond alive. Studies show that couples who try new things together have lower rates of depression and stronger emotional ties, which directly impact how long you live. In my own marriage, Tom and I started gardening together in our 60s. We were terrible at it, our tomatoes never ripened properly, but the hours we spent laughing over our failures brought us closer. It wasn't about the garden, it was about building something new together. That shared growth is what keeps your heart beating strong. Here's a step you can take: pick one new thing to try with your partner this month. It could be a cooking class, a book club, or even just a new walking route. The point is to grow side by side. Let's pause here for a moment. These first 5 signs, feeling safe to be yourself, laughing together, touching without expectation, listening to understand, and growing together, are the foundation of a relationship that doesn't just last but thrives. They're not about perfection, they're about showing up with love, day after day. But there's a flip side to this. Many couples drift apart because they fall into traps that erode these signs. Let's talk about the mistakes we make and how to avoid them. One common mistake is taking each other for granted. After years together, it's easy to assume your partner knows you love them, so you stop saying it or showing it. I've been guilty of this myself. There was a time when Tom and I got so comfortable that we stopped making an effort. We weren't fighting, but we weren't connecting either. It felt like we were just roommates. That disconnection isn't just lonely, it's dangerous. Research shows that loneliness in older adults increases the risk of heart disease and dementia. The good news? You can turn it around. Another mistake is letting resentment build. Maybe your partner does something small that annoys you, like leaving dishes in the sink, and instead of talking about it, you let it fester. Over time, those little grudges pile up, creating an emotional wall. Eleanor taught me to address things early. She'd say to James, "Honey, when you leave your socks on the floor, I feel like I'm not being seen." It wasn't a fight, it was a conversation. That openness kept their love strong. So how do you avoid these traps? It starts with small, intentional actions. Tell your partner you love them, even if it's been years since you said it out loud. Address little hurts before they grow. And most importantly, don't assume your love will take care of itself. Like a garden, it needs tending. These actions aren't just about keeping your relationship strong, they're about keeping you both alive and well for years to come. Now, let's move on to the next 4 signs that show how your relationships can predict how long you'll live after 70. These build on the foundation we've laid, deepening the emotional and physical connection that keeps you thriving. Sign 6, you forgive and let go. Holding on to grudges is like carrying a heavy stone, it weighs you down and shortens your life. Eleanor once told me about a time she and James had a big fight over money. They didn't speak for 2 days, which was rare for them. But on the 3rd day, James came to her with a simple apology. "I was wrong to raise my voice. I love you, and I don't want this between us." Eleanor forgave him, not because she had to, but because she chose to. That choice kept their love alive and their hearts light. Research shows that forgiveness reduces stress and improves heart health, especially in older adults. I've had my own moments of holding on to hurt. Years ago, Tom forgot our anniversary, not out of malice, but because he was distracted by work. I was furious, and I let that anger simmer for weeks. But one night, I realized I was only hurting myself. I sat him down, told him how I felt, and we talked it out. Letting go of that resentment felt like taking a deep breath after being underwater. It didn't just save our relationship, it saved my peace. Here's a practical step: think of one small thing you're holding against your partner. Maybe it's a thoughtless comment or a forgotten promise. Today, choose to let it go. Have a gentle conversation if you need to, but release the weight. Your heart will thank you for it. Sign 7, you celebrate each other's wins. A relationship that lifts you up is one that keeps you young. Eleanor and James had a habit of cheering each other on, no matter how small the victory. When James fixed the old radio in their garage, Eleanor threw her arms around him like he'd won a Nobel Prize. That kind of celebration builds joy, and joy is a powerful elixir for longevity. Studies show that positive reinforcement in relationships boosts mental health and reduces the risk of chronic illnesses. In my own life, I've seen how this works. When I took up painting in my 60s, I was terrible at it. My landscapes looked like a child's scribbles. But Tom would look at each one and say, "You've got a real eye for color, sweetheart." His encouragement made me keep going, and that sense of being valued gave me a spark I hadn't felt in years. It's not about flattery, it's about noticing and honoring each other's efforts. Try this next time your partner does something well, whether it's cooking a great meal or finishing a project, celebrate it. Say, "I'm so proud of you," and mean it. Those moments of recognition weave a thread of joy through your relationship. Sign 8, you share moments of quiet intimacy. Intimacy doesn't always mean passion, it's often found in the quiet moments when you're simply together. Eleanor described evenings when she and James would sit on their porch, no words needed, just the comfort of each other's presence. Those moments of stillness are profound, they lower stress, deepen trust, and remind you that you're home with each other. After 70, when life can feel uncertain, these quiet connections are a lifeline. Tom and I have our own version of this. Every morning, we sit at the kitchen table with our coffee, no phones, no distractions, just the two of us. Sometimes we talk, sometimes we don't. But those minutes ground us. They're a reminder that we're still here, still choosing each other. That kind of intimacy doesn't fade with age, it grows stronger. Here's a simple action: carve out 5 minutes today to be with your partner in silence. Sit together, hold hands, or just share the same space. Let the quiet speak for itself. It's a small act, but it builds a reservoir of closeness that sustains you both. Sign 9, you keep the spark alive. Finally, the spark of romance isn't just for young couples, it's a sign of vitality at any age. Eleanor used to surprise James with little notes tucked into his jacket pocket, simple things like, "You make my heart smile." Those gestures kept their love playful and alive. Keeping the spark doesn't mean grand gestures, it's about showing your partner they still light up your world. Couples who maintain this sense of romance have lower rates of depression and stronger immune systems, which directly impact longevity. I'll admit, Tom and I had to work at this as we got older. Life gets in the way, health issues, routines, the daily grind. But we made a pact to keep surprising each other. Once, I left a sticky note on his bathroom mirror that said, "You're still my favorite person." He grinned like a schoolboy all day. Those tiny acts of love remind you why you fell for each other in the first place. Here's a tip: do one small, romantic thing this week. Write a note, plan a simple date night at home, or just tell your partner what you love about them. Keep that spark glowing. It's not just about your relationship, it's about your life. Now, let's talk about why these signs matter so much. The biggest mistake couples make after 70 is thinking love will take care of itself. It's easy to assume that after decades together, you don't need to try anymore. But that's when the spark fades, the laughter quiets, and the distance grows. I've seen it happen to friends who let their relationships slip into autopilot. They weren't unhappy, but they weren't thriving either. And that lack of connection can shave years off your life. Another trap is ignoring the small stuff. You might think a forgotten anniversary or a sharp word doesn't matter, but those moments add up. They create cracks in your emotional bond, and over time, those cracks become chasms. Eleanor taught me to address the small stuff with kindness. She'd say, "Don't let the sun go down on a hurt." That doesn't mean you have to solve every problem, just acknowledge it and choose love. So, how do you make these 9 signs a reality in your life? It's simpler than you think. Start with one small action from each sign. Share something real to build safety. Laugh over a silly memory. Touch your partner without expectation. Listen to understand. Try something new together. Forgive a small hurt. Celebrate a win. Sit in quiet intimacy. Keep the spark alive with a sweet gesture. These aren't big changes, they're tiny ripples that create a wave of connection. Let me share one final story. A few years ago, I met a couple, Mary and John, both in their 80s. They'd been married for 55 years, and you could feel the love between them. I asked Mary her secret, and she smiled and said, "We never stopped choosing each other. Every day, we find a way to say, 'You're still my home.'" Mary lived to 91, and John was by her side, holding her hand. Their love wasn't perfect, but it was intentional. And that intention is what kept them both alive, in every sense of the word. So, here's the truth: the way you love, the way you connect, the way you show up for each other, it's not just about your relationship. It's about your health, your happiness, and how long you'll live after 70. These 9 signs: feeling safe, laughing together, touching with love, listening deeply, growing side by side, forgiving freely, celebrating wins, sharing quiet moments, and keeping the spark alive, are your roadmap to a longer, richer life. I want to leave you with a challenge: pick one of these signs and act on it today. Maybe it's holding your partner's hand during dinner or telling them something you've been holding back. Whatever it is, do it with love. Because every moment you choose connection, you're choosing life. Now, I'd love to hear from you. What's one small thing you can do today to strengthen your relationship? Drop a comment below. I read every one, and your stories inspire me. If this video touched your heart, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more insights on living and loving well. Your support helps us build a community of people who believe love is the key to a long, beautiful life. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next one.